Today is Friday, November 17, 2017, and I am going to take the bus to Harvard, leaving at 9:40, arriving at about 2 o'clock by myself this time. I haven't done that in a couple of months, but I want to because I like going out there. It helps me focus and get my work done. Staying in an Airbnb, and my total cost for the weekend will be about $250, not including food. See how it goes. My body feels a little bit weak. I probably should have had a cold right now, but I think because I take 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C during flu season in the morning and another 1,000 at night, if I come across someone with a cold, that's why I think I'm not sick. I don't know if you saw that black lady, security guard, but she's an extremely annoying woman who bothers me a lot because she's always complaining or making a fuss about something. And I just realized that for some reason the video is on Supra, whatever the hell that means, so I gotta fix that. Here's the bus. Oh shit, just hit the pant. Damn it. How much is it? 1, sorry. 2, 4, 3. Thank you. On the bus. Now I'm on the way to Manhattan in order to catch a megabus to Boston. Let's talk about what just happened in the bus, because it's important that you learn from that experience so that way you don't make any crucial mistakes in the future. So I allowed myself to get into an argument with this fool, in part because I don't take shit from people, but at the same time it's important that you use your head when it comes to these things. You know, you have to sometimes know when to walk away as well. And what I mean by that is the following. Number one, if you noticed, I didn't engage him. I won the argument, and I left it at that. And even if I didn't win the argument, sometimes you just got to be willing to let things go. The other thing too, though, is that if you notice, I let him walk another direction and then I walked in a different direction so as to avoid any future conflict. But the other thing that I'll highlight too is that before I allowed things to escalate, what I did was I measured up my opponent. I looked at him to make sure that he was someone that I felt I had a good chance of defending myself against. And in his case, he was clearly taller and clearly bigger, and he was an aggressor. but I felt confident in my skill that I'd be able to neutralize him if necessary. Now, it's not so much because of I don't know how to explain it, but I mean, there's some people who you know that they're like they might be bigger than you, but your skill can outmatch their size. Also, the other thing that I look for is how crazy is this person? Because the main concern that I have is this the type of person who, although skill-wise I might be able to outmatch him, well, I gotta make sure that this person isn't someone who's gonna pull out a knife or a gun, you know, or someone who won't take it beyond the basic, you know, one-on-one scuffle, you know, because there are a lot of crazy people out there, and you want to make sure that if you engage someone, that they're not going to be the type of person that if they are victorious or you, that they'll continue pounding on you or something like that, instead of terminating the fight upon victory. He looked like a normal person, just someone who's very angry, and therefore, after assessing the threat, I determined that it was okay for me to engage and properly and verbally defend myself against his stupidity. Also notice that I used logic in the argument. He wasn't able to win with my use of logic. He exposed his ignorance, and hence that's ultimately what made me win the verbal battle. But in conclusion, pick and choose your enemies, size them up, keep an eye on them before and after to make sure that they don't make any immediate moves. If you notice in the video, I also had my hands being recorded, because if he were to be a physical aggressor and attack me, I wanted video evidence that I was simply defending myself after I broke his jaw, because my hands were in clear view of the video. My hands were in clear view of the video, and you know, anything that occurred would have been because he took the first step and was the aggressor. All right, that's it. Heading to my bus to Cambridge. All right, well, I'm here in Harvard. It was a long bus ride. I deleted the argument with the asshole in the bus. I have it saved in... Let me say that again. I deleted the argument with the asshole in the bus. I have it saved to the YouTube channel in case you want to see it there, but I want to open up space on my GoPro. But I'm here, and while I was on the bus, I met this gentleman by the name of Ben, who is the director of student affairs, I think, or something like that. And he forwarded me an invitation to a dinner tonight with Harvard faculty in the Harvard Faculty Club. So I'm really excited about that. I'm going to be heading there tonight, and I'll definitely bring my GoPro and try to take some video. So far, the trip started off rough with an argument with an idiot and a bus ride that took 2 hours longer than it should have. But I'm here now, and I'm going to be going to a Harvard event. And tomorrow's the Harvard-Yale football game. So that's great. I'm out and about here in Cambridge. First time I'm on this side. On this side of the Harvard area, and apparently there's a Harvard group on this side that I didn't know about, that's over there in the distance. I'm gonna check that out. I wonder what building this is. Looks nice though. Oh, Harvard Law. The Coop Harvard Law. It's probably closed though since the lights are off. I don't. If I'm not mistaken, that's the Harvard Faculty Club there in front of me. And that's where I'll be spending the next 3 hours dining. Now this bus has to stop right in front of me. Ugh. Come on, buddy. Oh, very nice. Here's a familiar face.
Hey!
Good to see you. Yeah, thanks for telling me about this.
Absolutely.
I put my black jeans on, so that would be a little bit... Yeah, awesome. I don't know if I paid for the thing and everything, but I guess...
Yeah, the last minute attendee list here.
Well, this evening at the Harvard Faculty Club was certainly great. It was great in primarily the fact that, well, first let me highlight that I'm walking in Harvard Yard at 10 o'clock at night. No people around, very few people. Just other students, maybe. And it's quiet and peaceful. No one making noise. But tonight was a good night. I'll talk in a second. Stopping by Beat Brasserie.
Yeah, my cousin's Paramount, but it was in the middle of my two lessons, so I'll take it. It was 83 degrees.
Thanks. Whew. This here is the ugly part of Harvard. Always people sleeping in the street for some reason. So I'm going to continue the conversation I was having before about why tonight was such an important night. I got to tell you, the reason why I'm so excited to be studying here at Harvard is because in reality, the academics, the education here is just truly remarkable. I don't know why that guy has that music playing on his car, but whatever. In either event, and I say that because tonight I had the opportunity to debate and discuss with a professor who's a doctor of history at the Divinity School, and he gave me really some like new ways of viewing some of what I've thought about theologically and academically, and that's exactly what I think any serious student should want from academics. You know, it's not enough to say, oh yeah, I just went to a college and I graduated and got a degree. You know, we have to really be willing to find something that we're passionate about and to seek as much information as we can on the topic. and to find the best place where we can seek out that information. And for me, that's Harvard. You know, I have access to all of their research libraries now, and access to their professors, so that I can pick their brains and, you know, hear their expert opinion on topics that are of great interest to me, particularly theology and religion. And tonight's conversation was a perfect example of that. You know, truly, you know, I won't go into the topic itself because it's something relatively new for me that I need to explore further before sharing it with you on this video, because, you know, I'm the type who wants to confirm my information before just stating it. But also, for the first time, I got to share with him my thesis, which is, I call it the argument from perfection in defense of the Christian faith. And pretty much it goes something to the effect of, premise 1, if God is God, God must be perfect, otherwise he is not God. Premise number 2, man is imperfect. Premise number 3, that which is imperfect cannot be joined. That which is imperfect cannot be joined with that which is perfect. Otherwise, that which is perfect becomes imperfect. Premise number 4. Premise number 4. That which is perfect must be able to make that which is imperfect perfect. Otherwise, that which is perfect is not perfect. Premise number 5. I have it written down. It's easier when I look at it. But I think number 5 is, if God is perfect, God must be able to make the imperfect perfect. Otherwise, he is not God and he is not perfect. Premise number 6. I'm missing one of them. I don't remember premise 6, but premise 7 is Christianity is the only faith to argue that God is both perfect and the only perfect that is able to make the imperfect perfect. Conclusion: if it is true that God is perfect and the only perfect that can make the imperfect perfect, and it is true that Christianity is the only faith to teach said doctrine, Christianity is true. And the whole argument revolves around the idea that when you think about every faith out there, right, there's 2 types of faiths. There's monotheistic faiths like Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And then there are faiths that are not monotheistic and that believe in multiple gods. So, for example, Hinduism believes in there being multiple gods. Buddhism, although a Buddhist might say to you they don't believe in a god, they actually do believe in many gods. It's usually a local community type based god. They actually have millions of gods. It's all based on geography, if you will. Every town has its own personal god. And of all of these religions, there's only one religion that teaches that man becomes perfect not because of what he does, but because of what God did for him. When you think about, for example, Islam. In Islam, you have to fulfill, I believe it's the 5 pillars of Islam, which include the Hajj, which is going to Mecca, and you know, walking around Mecca and visiting Mecca, and other part of it is helping homeless people. You know, the whole pillar, all pillars. For example, their main pillar is that you have to state and believe that Allah is God and Prophet is, and Muhammad is his only prophet, something to that effect. But the whole premise is that your quote-unquote salvation is based on actions, deeds, things that you do. Mormonism, same thing. Catholicism, it's based on the sacraments. Although they have their roots in Christianity, Catholicism deviated in that it incorporated acts as a part of what actually makes someone saved. Christianity, at least what I consider biblical Christianity, is the only faith to posit that man is imperfect and that all that can make man perfect is God himself. Hence the reason why Jesus came to earth and died, so that he could pay for the price of all of our sins, and we could thereby be made perfect through his sacrifice. So that's my thesis, and it certainly is a strong one. My only concern is it original? I don't know if anyone else has written about it, and that's why I come here to Harvard, to find out, to see how original my thesis is. Hopefully it is, and hopefully I'll add something to the academic world. Right here in front of me is the house where I'm staying. It looks like there's no one else in the house, which is a good thing. Either that or everyone's sleeping. Hope I don't wake people up if they are sleeping. Maybe there's someone in the basement. It's a nice place, I like it. Door's unlocked. That's not good.